This is Earnest Spencer again on No Fences, and welcome to part 2 of Sponges. And Dex and I were talking about something before we came back on, and I want him to continue. We were talking about a beauty pageant and your daughter.
Oh, when we were, my daughter did some beauty pageants when she was younger. And what we ended up doing was we went to the big competition in Dearborn. There are hundreds of children in there, and some of them, their fathers couldn't make it out. So I was asked if I wouldn't mind walking with some other young ladies as an escort for them. And I said, I don't have a problem with that, but is it okay with my daughter? And my daughter's first answer was, no, they need to get their own daddy. And I said, do you really feel that way? And she said, no, but you walk with me first. And I said, yep, I got you. I had my tie to match her dress. My wife had coordinated everything, so I matched her. And then luckily some other fathers ended up showing up, and I only had to walk with one. I think they wanted me to walk with 3 of the young ladies, but I ended up walking with an additional one. But it's also the resource of having your children share their parents with others. And I know my son in a heartbeat will be like, well, Dad, can you coach me? Dad, can you coach the team? We're looking for a coach. And to coin the phrase, I get deep in his butt and yell at him.
Right.
And I treat my son no different than anybody else. He played in the Gus Macker. I was on the sideline coaching. He said something to the official. I snatched him by his collar and pulled him out of the game and told him, you don't talk to the officials like that. That's my job as a coach to do that, not your job as a player. And it was a little bit more aggressively said than that.
Trust me.
A couple minutes later, you know, that one of the other parents who was coaching said, can we get Lil D back in the game? Yeah, our other teammate fouled out. And I was like this, yeah, he can get back into the game, but you need to also drill that respect in. Just because parents are saying something to the official, there's no reason for children to say that. And you see that in high school athletics now.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's extremely disrespectful. You're not in the NBA. You're not doing this for a living.
Right.
You're doing this for recreational. You're doing this for sportsmanship. And sportsmanship teaches you and prepares you for teamwork and working in a professional field. I truly believe that.
You know, I talked about earlier how my boys had to call me coach when I coached them. And I remember we had a great team. It was only 9, 10, 11. We won the Salvation Army tournament 3 years in a row at a young age. But they went undefeated the first 2 years. We actually went undefeated the third year, but I forfeited a game. I forfeited a game because they had never been behind at halftime. And they would stay right before halftime. They fussing at each other, screaming at each other. And I know they're going to beat this team. They just got to settle down. So we went into the locker room, and they were still fussing with each other. I said, we're done. And they said, what do you mean we're done? I said, we're done. I said, if I raise a team, teams don't argue and holler at each other. They work together. I said, right now I'm coaching a gang, and I don't coach gangs. And I went back out and forfeited the game. All the way home, they was angry with me. The next day, all of them came up and said, Coach, we was mad at you yesterday, but you know what, you was right. We let being down by 4 points constitute our attitudes were.
Yep. Well, it's like Vince Lombardi said, winning isn't a sometimes thing, it's an all times thing. Unfortunately, so is losing. And you see that in high school, college, especially in the pros.
Right.
When a team turns on itself and they start fighting amongst themselves,
Right.
you now have an enemy within and an enemy on the outside. And so the enemy on the outside just make a couple jacks and start laughing, and they're more relaxed with it. You uptight, you tense, you missed this pass, you didn't see this, I was open over here. That translates to basketball, that translates to football, that translates to baseball. If a team collapses on itself and starts fighting itself, now they're not just playing against somebody, they're playing against themselves as well.
In that one game, what had happened was, it was a girl on the other team, and she was good. And she told, my nephew was one of the cutest boys on the team, and my son, she said, y'all both ugly. Okay, and they couldn't function now, because this girl had told me, my center, he was a little heavy. She called him a fat boy and told him he couldn't run, and she beat him down the court a couple. Now, she got them fighting with each other. And I told him, I said, y'all have become a gang. She has turned y'all. I told him the next couple of days, she turned y'all into a gang. She made y'all turn against each other. And that was her whole goal, because she was laughing all the way. She was laughing all the way.
She was in control.
Yes, she was.
She was calm. She was precise. She knew she hit him with what she needed to hit him with. And the game skill fell apart. But you have some trash talkers in the NBA. You have some trash talkers in the NFL, and I'm sure you got some trash talkers in Major League Baseball.
Yes, you do.
But that's part of the game. And again, we can be friends and we can talk, but for this next few minutes while we playing against each other, it's on and popping.
Yeah, it's popping.
It's popping. That's the bottom line to it. And so you get to that point, and everybody sucks it up. And again, my son is 12. One of his favorite NBA players is Steph Curry.
Okay, yeah.
Steph Curry is known for what?
Long shots.
Long shots. Steph Curry hitting threes from beyond
everywhere.
the three-point line. I got a 12-year-old. He want to hit three-pointers.
Right.
Okay, buddy, that's not bad, but 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, if you get 3, but your attempts, you keep shooting. You're in the 30% category. You're 12.
Right.
His buddy started with layups, couple feet away, fadeaways. Hit him with that. That's worth 2 points. You'd rather take the 2 points and be in the bank than gamble for the 3 points. And for those of us who are Michigan basketball players who watched the NCAA championship this year in 2017, that 3-pointer that went up, I was praying right along with them, and it hit the rim and bounced off. I was distraught. Mm-hmm. Needless to say a lot, Oregon came on and squeaked by. So, Steph Curry does his thing, and our kids suck it up.
That over and over and over and over and over again. I had a book called Rare Air, and it was about Michael Jordan. And it was a huge book somebody gave me. It actually has hands, and his hands are like huge. But he talked about some things that people did. He talked about, they kicked him off the basketball team in high school.
Yep.
Told him he wasn't good enough to play basketball.
And I know that coach has got to be kicking himself every time. You had the chance to coach Michael Jordan in high, and you kicked him off?
First year in college, he didn't make the team. And but he talked about how he practiced. He said he couldn't shoot jumpers that well. He could jump, but he'd always went to the hole. So he had to practice, and he spent hours practicing. And in the book, I had a person that didn't like Michael Jordan. He said, "You see how he talked to his people on the floor, his teammates and stuff?" In the book, it asked him, "Do Mike get on y'all like that?" He said, "Mike get on us every day." He said, "Do he talk to y'all crazy?" He said, "No, here's what he tells us." He said, "You guard me in practice and you make me go around you and you stop me from going to the hole, and I'm Michael Jordan. Now you gonna let him do it to you?" He said, "That's all Mike do, get in their face and say, not I'm Michael Jordan," because that's what they said, "I'm Michael Jordan." He said, "Yeah," he says, "I'm Michael Jordan, and you beat me in practice, but you gonna let him get around you, don't do it again." And it works.
It does. But there's a lot to be said about victory from defeat. Mm-hmm. Michael Jordan suffered the loss of being cut from the team and came back and worked harder than anybody else. That's the heart that's inside the people. Right. And as children grow up, they must develop character, heart, and the ethics. Those 3 perpetuate them into the future and to a successful path. But having the heart and the courage to say, yeah, I lost, and yeah, you beat me, but I got this jumper because I hit this jumper time and time again. Look at Magic Johnson. And I said this to somebody, Magic Johnson came out of Lansing, and those were the few years, I hope my wife's forgive me, but those were one of the few years that I actually rooted for state when Magic Johnson played there. And one of Magic Johnson's teachers was actually one of my econs professor's wives. And Magic Johnson, if you remember back in the day, stuttered, had a hard time talking. You see Magic Johnson today. Right. Magic Johnson is a very eloquent speaker.
Yes, he is.
He does motivational speeches all the time. He's got his Sodexo. He's got a bunch of programs for youth going on. He's got his movie theaters. Magic Johnson has graduated, and he was good at one thing and turned it into
There was a
others.
movie with Denzel Washington in it, where his son was a basketball player. The character was Jesus.
Yes.
And he used to always say, it's not the skill of the man, it's the will of the man.
Yep.
And you can practice and do what you need to do to make yourself better.
He got game.
Yeah, he got game.
He got game is the name of the movie, and it is true. But you notice what that father did, and he said, similar to what Michael Jordan said, I ain't all of them. I'm the daddy. I'm the one who put the ball in your crib.
Right.
I'm the one that spent them hours with you. I'm the one that made you run. I'm the one that put that hustle to you. And again, a momentary lapse in his father's judgment caused him to go to prison off of an accident. cause the son to still have the drive and the love, but that's that pressure we talked about in part one of you having to get up, you having to take care of your other sibling, because mom is dead, father's
Dad's gone.
incarcerated, now you're living with your uncle and your aunt, and you want to make sure that your sister is there, and now Jesus Shuttlesworth is going off to, I think they called it Big State.
Big
He
State.
went to Big State.
Yep.
And his sister joined him. That is a young man who had a great deal of pride, a great deal of pressure, and a great deal of skill. And his father ended up going back into jail.
Right, because he wouldn't sign, and then he finally signed.
He did.
Big State or Big Sky was one of them. I can't
I
remember.
want to go Big State.
Yeah, I
because
think
I was
you're
like
right.
this. Because you know which state he couldn't say Michigan, he
Right.
couldn't say
Right.
Indiana. All
So
of them got it, so it was Big State.
And the end of the movie was he throws the ball up
Yes.
and it comes down.
In
He
prison.
throws it out of the jail and it comes down in the gym.
Yes.
They keep saying, if you walk one more step, we're going to sling this ball out. And then the ball comes out the gym. And it showed that he had learned what he had learned, it was still there. I got a grandson, he's 10, and he's a pretty good kid. I don't have a lot of problem with him, but a lot of it is because he wanted to be a police officer. And he still says he wants to be a police officer. I'm going to pick on Stacy now. She's beautiful. I don't know if you met Stacy Randolph. She's a...
Yes, I did meet
Okay.
Stacy Randolph.
So me and Stacy real cool. Me and her husband real cool, Vic.
Yeah, you
So-
threw that part in there too. Yeah, she
I
got a
used-
big husband.
She got a big husband. And but she showed my grandson everything on her belt but her gun. He was about 4. And ever since then, he said, I want to be police. And you know, I've watched him stand for 42 minutes outside of my house when I lived in the township. The police was 2 doors down. He stood there because he seen that police car waiting for that police to come out. When that police come out, the police had realized he was standing there. I said, he need a badge, you know, one of them little paper badges. He need his little stuff. He gave it to him. He said, why does he do that? Why are you standing there long? Still, he's not like police. And I said, it's exactly the opposite. Okay? So I got him to stay out of trouble, a lot of trouble, for simply saying, you go do the stupid stuff. You can't be a police officer. Okay, so you get caught stealing, you get caught doing the stupid stuff. You come and ask me for $1. I won't get caught stealing. Okay? So I've taught him to hustle and to make his money. And, you know, it wasn't on me. It was his goal, his desire to want to be this police officer and know that he got to stay straight and right to do that job.
And that's fantastic because a lot of minorities are not going into law enforcement. Police officers are taking a huge beating. And I will give police officers a shout out. And I think if I've said it in other areas, I put police officers in the same category that I put preachers in.
Yeah.
Some were called, some were sent, and some just went. Some police officers were called to the duty, great. Some went to the duties, and some were sent out there to do that. Some just went. Those are the ones we have problems with. We don't throw every pastor underneath the bus for what some small percentage of pastors do. We shouldn't throw every police officer underneath. Are there room for improvement? Absolutely.
You know, on my other show, I've always, for the years I've done my show, I always give a shout out at the beginning, and I'll do it for this show right now. I give a shout out to all my veterans who risked their lives and put their lives on the line for this country. I give a shout out to all our troops that are standing on the line right now so that we can sit here and holler at the sky. I also say I give a special thanks out to any mother, father, sister, brother, husband, wife, son, or daughter whose family has given the ultimate sacrifice. One of your family members has died defending this country. I also say my police officers and my firemen, paramedics, because they run where we run away from. I've introduced Dexter to y'all in 2 different ways. I love this brother here. He's a good man. He's been on one of my other shows, and I knew when I brought him on this show that he would have the right things to say without being coached. Although we did read a chapter to get on the same page, literally get on the same page, but I knew he had some input for this, and that is why I invited him here. I'm pretty sure I got about a half a minute left, so I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank Mike for inviting me to do this initially and then allowing me to do my own shows. At first I didn't want to do it because I had the other stuff I do, but I thank Mike for that, and I thank Dexter for being here. Good night.